What's up, Colorado?
Set and you're just going to stick with what you want.
Actions speak louder than the words. You can say what you love, but your actions don't line up with that love and that display of love. That's a problem.
Today, we've got something a little bit different for you. So we're going to make like a payday loan racket and try to earn your interest. Our main story today is about Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders and their amazing potential in the 2025 NFL Draft. Now, we both know, you and I know, that both Travis and Shedeur are returning for this 2024 season. But next year, in 2025, they are going to be highly sought-after commodities. So grab you a hot chocolate, sit back, and get ready, because this is the prime time for college football. Our first story and our only story today is on Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders in the 2025 NFL Draft. Now, we know that it is heavy draft season for the 2024 draft. A lot of people putting together their mocks, putting together their draft boards, and really trying to figure out who their NFL team is going to pick. In fact, I've learned a lot about you guys through the last several months of doing this. I want to know down below, who is your NFL team and who do you want them to draft in this draft in 2024? We're not going to talk about 2024. I just want to learn more about you guys. So let me know who your NFL team is down in the comments. But this 2025 draft, I don't know how familiar you are with it, but Walter Football has about the best mock drafts that you can get this far out. Let's look at what they've got for next year's number one overall pick. Well, it may surprise you. It may not surprise you. They have Shedeur Sanders as of 12/22. So this is recent, right around Christmas time. They're projecting that Shedeur Sanders is the number one overall pick to the Las Vegas Raiders. Almost said Oakland there for you old timers that remember those days a couple of years ago. Sanders was very good in 2023, completing 69% of his passes, 3,230 yards, 27 touchdowns, just 3 picks. He had 4 rushing touchdowns as well. Multiple team sources see Sanders, who is 6'2", 215, as a potential first-round pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. He won't wow with physical tools, said an area scout, but his arm is good enough, especially in the short and intermediary. Mentally, he can operate at incredible speed. He could also be the most NFL ready as far as football IQ. He bleeds confidence and charisma. He'll own a team immediately because of his competitiveness and obvious advantage having grown up in the rare NFL bubble. Pro ball will not scare him. Sanders previously dominated at Jackson State over 2 seasons before transferring to Colorado to continue to pay for his father. In 2021, Sanders completed 66% of his passes for 3,231 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 8 picks. In 2022, 71% of his passes, 3,700 yards, 40 touchdowns, and 6 picks. How incredible it would be if Coach Prime could coach his son to the number one pick in the NFL Draft. And Walter Football is telling you that's a very strong possibility. There's a lot of time to go. There's 15 months between now and then. You've got a long way to go to figure this out. This isn't the draft that's happening here in a few months. It's the one that happens after that, 2025. We will learn a lot more about Shedeur. We'll learn a lot more about these teams who may be drafting high. We'll learn a lot more about the talent that's around Shedeur, not only at Colorado, but also in his draft class between now and then. It's not a done deal by any means, but as of today, Walter Football is projecting that the number one overall pick would be Shedeur. And I love what they said. And this is not to take anything away from him, but they said he's not the biggest arm. He's not the kid that has the absolute most ability of all time, but he will look the NFL dead in the face and not blink. And I love that. He grew up in an NFL family. He grew up in that NFL bubble. He understands what it's like, and he is the kind of guy who will lead a franchise. They're already confident about that. They're not confident maybe in this or in that or knowing what the Buffs will do next year, but they are confident that he's the kind of kid who can lead an NFL franchise. He bleeds confidence and charisma. That was probably my favorite part of the entire breakdown, was that this kid is charismatic. I wonder who he gets that from. He's got confidence. I wonder who he gets that from. And he is ready to roll. Now, what is crazy is that not only is Shedeur being projected to the number one pick, his teammate is being projected to the number 2 pick. Walter Football says the most likely number 2 pick in the NFL Draft in 2025 is none other than Travis Hunter. Now, originally, they had Harold Perkins in this spot, but I don't think Harold had as good of a season as many were expecting down there at LSU. And right now, they project that the New York Giants will select Travis Hunter from Colorado as the number 2 overall pick in the 2025 draft. The Giants grab an elite shutdown corner. Hunter flashed dominant cover ability in 2023 with 31 tackles, 3 picks, and 5 passes defended before getting injured. As a part-time receiver as well, Hunter had 16 receptions, 213 yards. At Jackson State in 2022, he had 19 tackles, 2 picks, and 8 passes broken up. He's a 6'1", 185-pound kid who possesses otherworldly athleticism along with superb instincts and feet. Now, guys, I don't need to tell you how we will hype and how we will go nuts on this channel, and so will all Buffs fans if you have 2 Colorado Buffs. One, Coach Prime's son. One almost feels like he's a relative, and Travis Hunter going number 1 and number 2 in the NFL draft. What is nearly guaranteed without some kind of a major injury or a complete drastic drop in play is that you are likely going to have 2 first rounders. You're likely going to have 2 kids going in the first round of the NFL draft. And Coach Prime is going to be able to sell that. That's going to impact recruiting. That's going to impact the transfer portal. That is going to impact a lot of things. And it's also going to impact Coach Prime's legacy. We're going to cover a ton what he is going to do on the field this year. We will break down every single opponent. We will break down every position group. We will talk about every new coach that's hired. We will talk about every transfer that comes in, every recruit that's signed. We'll do all of that. And that all adds to Coach Prime's legacy as well, because we're going to talk about this first year in the Big 12 an absolute ton. But let me tell you something. Being able to put kids into the first round of the NFL draft, potentially at the number 1 and number 2 picks, is unheard of. Nick Saban's not doing that. Kirby Smart's not putting in the number 1. That is insane. And for that to happen, for this to go down the way that we're projecting it might, the way that Walter Football says it might, is going to be one of the greatest feathers in Coach Prime's hat ever. People like to doubt Coach Prime. People like to say, oh, well, he doesn't deserve credit for this. He didn't do that. He didn't do. Let me tell you something. If he develops a cornerback into a top 5 pick, especially number 2 overall, and he helps develop his son into the number 1 player in the NFL draft, that is going to be a legacy like you've never seen before. And there's a lot of talent coming behind him. We know that. We know what the transfer portals look like. We know what his recruiting classes have looked like. We know the offensive tackle that he just picked up that was number 1 in the country. That kid's going to be a first-round NFL draft pick in a couple of years. But if he can go into that 2025 draft and get both these kids drafted that high, it's going to be pretty special. What are your thoughts? Where do you think, and it's projecting early, but this would be something unlike anything we've seen. For someone to put their own son in the NFL draft this early, for someone to put Travis Hunter into the NFL draft after developing them himself would just be absolutely ridiculous. It is crazy to think that it could happen. It nearly happened last year. You remember who got the 1st and 3rd picks? Alabama did. Bryce Young went to Carolina. Will Anderson Jr. went to Houston. But to go 1 and 2? For Travis Hunter to basically jump every other quarterback that exists? You know, guys, the NFL loves to draft quarterbacks. The NFL loves to take quarterbacks number 1 overall, number 2 overall, number 3 overall. For Travis Hunter, a cornerback, maybe a split cornerback wide receiver, just an athlete. Just a guy that if you have a chance to draft him, he changes your program around. He makes you a better NFL organization. The chance to get both those guys at the top of the draft is something that we will talk about for the next year or so. What ends up happening with it? I don't know. I'm not Walter Football. I don't do a lot of mock drafts. That's not my expertise. That's not my specialty by any means. I like talking about recruiting. I like talking about the games. But Walter Football is the expert, and they are the credible ones to be able to put something like this together. They're not doing it for clicks. They're not doing it to get Coach Prime excited. They're not doing it to get me excited, though they accomplished that last one. They know what they're talking about. And we've got a lot of time between now and then. A lot can change. But if this team continues its upward trajectory, if these players continue their upward swing on the way that they're going, we're going to be some happy people on draft night in 2025. What are your thoughts? Where do you think these guys land? Is it possible? Can they break the NFL draft? Can Coach Prime have two guys, 1 and 2, in that 2025 draft? Listen, this year is going to be a ton of fun. Watching Shedeur, watching Travis, watching this entire roster in the Big 12 is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to continue to cover it. We're going to continue to talk about it. Make sure that you're locked in with the channel. Make sure you don't miss a minute of the coverage. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate you for all the support. You can get more access if you want to join our Patreon or Discord. The links for all of that is down in the description. Thank you guys for everything. We will be back with more content very soon. Thank you for watching the Prime Time for College Football.